Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. A real pleasure to have you joining me as part of this conversation. For those of you who know my own personal history prior to this show, I had a very proud career in entertainment television in this country, where I covered the Toronto International Film Festival like my life depended on it, to the point that now I try to enjoy it sparingly. But every now and then there's a story that crosses over beyond entertainment, beyond the glitz and the glamour, into the worldwide news. And this next subject is exactly that. There's a movie that was set to premiere at TIFF called The Road Between Us. It was a documentary that covered the story of IDF Major General Noam Tibon, retired, who on October 7th essentially wanted to find and take care and protect his family. And Barry Avrich, the director, who has produced and given us some incredible movies in his own right, was there as they retraced his steps and told his story. This was a movie that was going to premiere at TIFF until it wasn't, until it finally was again. And I'm so pleased and proud to have here with us filmmaker Barry Avrich. Nice to see you, Barry.
Thank you, Ben. Pleasure.
And IDF Major General Noam Tibon, thank you so much for being here as well and for making the trip to Toronto.
My pleasure.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the genesis of the film itself.
Well, first of all, I thought we were here to talk about the David Foster documentary. Is this the wrong show?
We did that back in the day. We did that back in the day, and that was a great movie in its own right.
Ben's father was responsible, the great Brian Mulroney, responsible for discovering Michael Bublé.
Yes, indeed.
At his sister's wedding. Yeah. Anyway, that's history.
Yes.
As a documentary filmmaker, you're obsessed with the story.
Yeah.
It's always about the story. I'm not a political filmmaker. If you look at my work, it's all over the place in terms of entertainment and scandal and whatever. I love pop culture. This story, as a father, and you appreciate this, resonated with me because, should you get a text at 6:30 in the morning that your family is being held hostage and surrounded by terrorists, what would you do?
Yeah.
You might call 911, you might worry, you might watch TV, but it's none of that.
Yeah.
This man got into the car with his wife and spent the next 14 hours finding a way to save his son, his daughter-in-law, and grandchildren under the age of 5, 2 of them. So that's what resonated with me. What would you do if you're the father or the mother in that situation? And that's when I called Noam and said, I'm sure I'm the 9th in line for this pitch.
Yeah.
And I know the answer is going to be we're talking to somebody else, but let it be me that tells the story.
Yeah. And look, we've seen versions of this in Hollywood, like dramatic retellings of stories like this.
Taken.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so this is a story that has resonated for so many people. Noam, may I call you Noam?
Of course.
So when Barry reached out, was he the 9th person, in fact, in line to have reached out to want to tell your story?
There were, a lot of people who asked. But, I learned a little bit about him, and I understood that he's a professional guy, and I watched some of his movies. And I'm glad we took the right decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were made comfortable by his work, and his work is storied and accomplished. And you're absolutely right. Not political. No. Your story first, right?
It's story first, and even if this film is, to some is has political overtones because of the country that it was shot in, this is a film, again, as I'll always say, that from me was wrapped in the flag of a family, not a country.
Yeah.
That's my perspective on this, and I hope the audience finds that perspective as well.
When you essentially had to relive that day, how did you feel? Was it more difficult than you'd anticipated? Was it, as somebody who's been in the Israeli military, I have to assume you've been through emotional hardships before. How did reliving that day compare to other difficult days in your life?
First of all, it was a unique day.
Yeah.
And Israel is so tiny, as you know, so I've been in that area many, many times. I think the way that Barry came all the way from Canada, from a totally different atmosphere, to tell the story, and with his right approach, in many ways, it make me, get open to the story. And I think at the end of the day, as I said, it's a story about a family. It's a story about a father, a mother, who are doing whatever they can to save their kids. And I think at the end of the day, this is worldwide. Yeah. And that's why I think it's going to be a great movie.
Well, look, listen, we can take the world as it is or as we want it to be. As we want it to be, we want a film like this to have universal appeal. We want people to connect with the humanity of it. But the world that we're living in makes it a little difficult.
It's the wrong film to politicize. And if you haven't seen it. Yeah. If you want to watch it and then have your own opinion, fine. But to politicize it before you've seen it, I don't quite understand. Yeah. So be it. But I think, again,
But Barry, everything is politicized today. Anybody with an Israeli accent, anybody who spent time in Israel, anybody who was in the IDF, God forbid, anybody who is in the IDF, that will get politicized today, whether they see the movie or they don't see the movie. We are in an information, a propaganda war. We're in a war for the hearts and minds. And somebody looks at this and says, "Oh, you're giving quarter to, so you're humanizing the Israeli side of a struggle. We cannot have that." And so
I am not going to be engaged in the conversation like that, because ultimately, it's just not the world that I live in. You've described that world, but I come back to the story. It could happen in any country, and it has happened in any country. And taking this journey with Noam on that day was never a political journey. No. If you walked in his shoes, and as I did, again, which should normally be, Ben, an hour drive from his home in Tel Aviv to his son's home in Nahal Oz, an hour, which was 14 hours, where the entire country was shut down. It is extraordinary, and every time we'd hit a junction or a specific moment where he was told he couldn't get to his son, it is the most emotional, jarring, and unbelievable time. And I think that's what the audience will see in the film. Edge of your seat of waiting to get to your family. And I have to tell you, this man, what was amazing to me, Ben, is that every time his son's house was within reach, whether it was a kilometer or 15 minutes, he stopped to help other people. Yeah. And at the risk of the clock running out. Yeah. What if he got there and his family wasn't there because he saved someone else? Sure. This man was about leaving no people behind and saving his family and other people.
So we don't have a lot of time left in this segment, but so I want to set this up so that this is what we talk about in the next segment. So you've completed this film, you've submitted it to TIFF. Mm-hmm. And of course, as a Canadian filmmaker, you would want to tell this story. You would want it to have its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival.
Absolutely.
Okay. You've secured that, right?
Yes, I did.
So you secured that. So which means the people at TIFF saw the film. They loved the film enough to say, this is going to be part of our 50th anniversary.
They invited it.
They invited it. Okay. And something happened between them saying that and then the world being alerted to this film even existing, because we all learned that it existed when we were told it was not going to premiere at TIFF. What in a short period of time, what can you tell me about that interim period between them saying, welcome to TIFF and sorry, you're not going to be at TIFF?
What a cliffhanger. Yeah. The most emotional experience in 70 films that I've made. Shattering, confusing, and yet I had no choice but to be defiant.
You were defiant, but I reached out to you and you didn't want to say anything for a while. Is it because you were holding out hope that, people would appeal to their better angels and they would see the light?
Strategically, I felt that I wanted people to speak up on my behalf. I might have been naive about that, and it might have been, a pipe dream, but boy, did they ever. Yeah. And so, if I'm going to go out and be the disgruntled filmmaker, who cares?
Well, we're going to talk about that next. Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show, and I want to welcome back to the show filmmaker Barry Avrich, as well as IDF Major General Noam Tibon, retired, who is the focus of Barry's latest documentary, The Road Between Us, The Ultimate Rescue, which is going to be premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival. And this is after a back and forth, a very will they, won't they with TIFF, where the movie was set to premiere and then that premiere was withheld only for public. Barry, what brought the film back? In your opinion, there was a lot of pushback. There was a lot of support for the film. What is the reason in your mind that its premiere was restored?
I'd like to think that the film festival decided that on their own that it should be shown. I mean, there's no question that global pressure helped that. I don't think, including myself, I don't think anybody anticipated the reaction that they would get globally from this. People were calling me and saying, "Oh, I just want to let you know you're on the cover of the New York Post." CNN calling to send a crew, and strategically again we let people speak up for the film. So I think the film festival woke up and said, okay, we can't ignore this.
Yeah.
We better have a conversation with Barry and a dialogue. And again, Ben, if you go back to the film festival's mission statement, two critical things. We encourage dialogue and debate.
Yeah. Well, that's what film is supposed to do.
Correct. Secondly, we respect and uphold the artistic freedom of our artists and filmmakers.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go back to that, then what is the issue here?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, a film festival should be about a balanced program.
Yeah.
You look at that wall that they do, I've seen it, of their 392 films, whatever the number is, and you look at it, make sure you got the right balance.
Yeah.
So films should make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this film that's going to make anyone feel uncomfortable if you care about your own.
Yeah.
So that's what it should be about. And I don't mind saying it here. Cameron Bailey, the CEO of TIFF, met with me on the opening night of TIFF and apologized and said, the process wasn't right and I made a mistake and I'm happy to have your film here.
Listen, for me, I'm the type of person that if somebody makes a mistake and admits it, I'm probably inclined to just move on. But systemically, they probably have to look at what happened at TIFF to allow for this to happen in the first place.
I said the same thing to him. I accepted the apology gracefully. Many would tell me not to. But that's not who I am. But I said to him, it's about truth.
Yeah.
And after the 50th, you need to look at the process. But even if films are controversial, at the end of the day, Ben, I'll say two things that there was a great Broadway producer that said many years ago, when they're not buying tickets, there's no stopping them. Meaning, if you don't want to see the film, don't go. If it makes you want to come, if you want to walk on the streets and yell, don't go see the film. Great.
Yeah.
No problem. And then, the enduring this, Quincy Jones, who you've met and interviewed, who was a great, great, great mentor and friend of mine, said that you can't have a beautiful picture without the negative.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's what helped me get through this. But the film festival hopefully will do its work. I believe that all artistic organizations, all festivals, whether it's film, literary, art, are all under siege right now. And at the end of the day, it's about the art. What is the point in protesting art? If you don't want to go, don't go.
No, you I'm sure got word, hey, we're doing this premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. And then you hear, hold on, don't book your plane ticket just yet. What were you thinking? It must have been a roller coaster.
First of all, I was upset because I think it was, I didn't understand all the excuses. Why not? Yeah. But, we talked, Barry and myself, and we agreed on a strategy. And I think at the end of the day, common sense and justice won. And for me, the most important issue is not what happened and why it happened. Is from now on, let's look forward. And I hope as much as many people will come to see the movie, to hear the story. And for myself, the outcome, if on the way back home, they will talk about our story, about my family story, and said, what would I do in this situation? Right. This is good enough for me.
And listen, not for nothing. You have the most talked about film at the Toronto International Film Fest now. It's the Barbra Streisand effect, right? Prior to this, had your film just been accepted and they had moved on, we would have talked about it when it came out, as one does with a documentary. But by and large, there are other big movies with big stars whose names would have consumed the conversation. Everybody's talking about this film now.
It's great, and I love the Barbra Streisand reference because Noam sings, and if you ask him to sing, it's even better than Barbra Streisand.
Yeah. Do you have a singing voice? What? Yeah.
I'm no singing and dancing is not my area.
Oh no, I gotcha. I see.
But I love Barbra Streisand.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Got nails like butter.
I love her too.
But yeah,
everybody's talking about the film, and I think that's again part of the dialogue and the debate as we get ready to launch the film, and people going to see it is the win here. So.
Yeah, no, it is, but I love what you said, that this is art, and who stands outside and attacks art.
If you want to protest against political agendas, whatever they are, if you want to protest against government policy, I get it. Corporate positioning, fine, but art,
yeah,
where does it end?
Yeah, listen, I don't know what you were expecting at the premiere. Are you expecting people to protest?
If they want to protest,
Yeah.
but let the audience in, let them watch the film, make up your own mind. Disruption, it makes no sense. If again, I have no issues with people protesting if they'd really seen the film, and then they can protest. Otherwise, they're protesting an ideology which isn't present in the film.
It's not, and yeah, exactly. And Noam, also, what is controversial today will probably not be controversial tomorrow, and so the controversy will be part of the lore of the film. It's going to be part and parcel of it. How the two of you are addressing it, and may I say, you're addressing it in the most diplomatic ways. It's head and shoulders above the tone that we're used to in this debate, and I commend you both for it. You're not getting down into the mud, as a lot of people have made. It's a place where a lot of people have made their home on this subject. So to the both of you, I wish you the very happiest and most successful of TIFFs. I look forward to seeing the film myself, and I'm just very proud that you came into the Ben Mulroney Show.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you both. Thanks so much for watching the show. Now, if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode of the Ben Mulroney Show.